So I decided to watch another CinemaSins video, because apparently I hate myself and me time is worthless. So the first video I watched was Everything Wrong with the Jungle Book, and to be honest, watching these goos do their shtick about a children's animated film, that kind of made me a little irrationally angry. Also, the movie suggests panthers and wolves are good buddies and not enemies or competitors for the same food sources as logic would dictate. Oh, really? Are they singing, dancing, cartoon animals in the children's fantasy film? Are they not behaving realistically, CinemaSins? And here's me thinking I was watching a nature documentary. Thank you, CinemaSins, for pointing out the logical inconsistencies of the talking animals. Oh, Jesus Christ. And that was about all that I could handle off that, so. Oh, I did Empire Strikes Back instead. As we about to see, the Empire is going to get their asses kicked yet again, with Luke Skywalker leading the charge. So at what point exactly are the Empire supposed to get their asses kicked in this movie? They destroy the hidden rebel base, they capture the Falcon and its crew, and then Luke loses in the duel against Darth Vader, gets his hand cut off, and nearly dies. Sometimes I wonder if CinemaSins actually watched the full movie before they start coming up with sins for it. I mean, come on, the clue is kinda in the title with this one, guys. Okay, so this is a remote ice planet, I'm assuming, where no one really lived before, because it's colder than fuck. But the rebels came here and then found, tamed, and learned how to ride the indigenous tauntauns, and built a whole base inside the mountain in 3 years. So there's nothing in the movie to say that the rebels are the ones who domesticated the tauntauns. There's not even anything in the movie to say that tauntauns are indigenous to Hoth. I mean, maybe they were, but maybe the rebels brought a shipment of them when they knew they were gonna go to Annecy Planet and could use them to ride around on. Also, the rebel base isn't that complicated to be completed in 3 years. I mean, 3 years is a long time, and it mainly just seems to be naturally occurring caverns in the Elise. All the rebels have done is tunnel between them. And remember, this is a universe in which the Empire can crank out a new Death Star whenever they feel like it, so I'm not sure that the rebels building a base in 3 years is really that unbelievable. Holy shit. Who would have guessed that of all 3 movies, including the one where she wears a bikini, that this would be the sexiest Leah moment of all? Good job managing to sexualize a woman silently looking across a room. I am starting to think CinemaSins has a bit of a problem with women. First off, Han refers to some other adventure we have no context for unless we read the Fing books. Second off, Han decides it's time to go because he ran into a bounty hunter on some other planet who obviously dozed to know where he is now. It's been 3 years. No, Han ran into a bounty hunter, and now he's concerned about more bounty hunters coming after him in the future. So he wants to leave to pay off Jabba the Hutt to stop that from happening again. He's not worried about just that one specific bounty hunter. He's worried about any possible future bounty hunters. This scene is also re-establishing for the audience that Han has a bounty on his head. And of course, later on in the film, Han is actually captured by a bounty hunter. So it's not as though his fears were unfounded here. The tension in these scenes comes from the fact that the rebels have to close their shield doors before it gets too cold. Let's be closed. Close the doors. Yes, sir. If it were true that everything else worked regardless of cold, then the rebels wouldn't care if they had to close the doors or not, and this tension wouldn't exist. Hungry Wampa decided to knock out Luke and put him in the fridge before eating him. The shots of the Wampa show it eating the taunt on before Luke. It's saving Luke for later. I get what you're going for here. I really do. In the last movie, You showed me this Shaun using the Force while blind to deflect unseen laser blasts from a drone. How can he do that, but not this? He can do it, you can tell, because he does it. It's just not easy. We've never seen Luke use the Force to move anything with his mind before, so this is introducing that concept to the audience. If Luke just started moving things about with his mind with no effort, it'd be really confusing. So, Luke left the beast's cave, fell unconscious for a bit, but then woke back up and started walking again. Really? Really? Oh, no. That doesn't happen in the movie. If you watch the full shot, you see Luke trip and fall into the shot. All that happened is that he fell over and stood back up. At no point was he unconscious. CinemaSins just cut out the trip and then pretended that Luke was waking up from being unconscious. This Shaun only shows up in the absolute most extreme Luke might be situations. Extreme situations like sitting around having a chat with Yoda and at a party with a bunch of woks. Luke's not really in any danger in either of those situations. I still say that in all the Star Wars movies, the most unbelievable thing is that Han somehow finds Luke during dusk on a huge snow planet. Why does Han have to search the entire planet to find Luke? He knows where Luke was before he went missing. And that's where Luke got attacked, so we can assume he's close to there. We see O'Toole looking for Luke on a scanner, so we can therefore assume Luke can be picked up by scanners. And who knows? Maybe Han decided to take a scanner with him, and that's how he found Luke. Tauntaun ex machina, so is it just me? Or does CinemaSins not actually know what the phrase Deus ex machina means? It actually means some sort of plot contrivance that resolves a lot of conflicts, seemingly arbitrarily. It usually comes at the end of a play or a film or whatever. The Tauntaun dying here actually complicates the plot, because Han can't use it to get home. So what the hell? I think CinemaSins think Deus ex machina means something happened. Probably it'll keep you warm. How does Han stuff Luke into a Tauntaun belly? They re not much bigger than humans. They re huge. They re like fucking 10 feet tall. Look at the size of it. Han somehow survives the bitter cold all through the night without getting inside the Tauntaun himself. That sounded dirty, but Han should be frozen much like Luke was a minute ago. Yeah, Han somehow survives the bitter cold. It's an absolute mystery. Maybe he set up a camp. But that's ambiguous. There's nothing in the actual movie to say that Han set up a camp to survive the night. If you really stretching, at the end of that scene it looks a bit like he's starting to set up a camp. And then when the airspeeder finds him, it looks like he's set up a camp. In the previous shot, Han has a line of dialogue. Probably it'll keep you warm until I get the shelter up. You know, other than all of that, who knows what he did? It's metal. Then it couldn't one of those creatures. Could be a speeder, one of ours. You mean the speeders who were just told last night can to go out in the cold? Yeah, Han was told that last night. And last night it was colder than it is right now, which is a scene set during the daytime. The rebels air alerted to our presence. Admiral Ozzel came out of light speed too close to the system. To Ozuzu. Why didn't Vader specifically leave in order not to do that? Yeah, Vader's not really the micromanaging type. He's more the if you fuck up I'll choke you to death type. So you can land these things outside the energy shield, but you can't get some quick fighters down here to perform an aerial assault. Yeah, why does the Empire only use ground forces here and not use any aerial forces? Comscan has detected an energy field protecting an area of the sixth planet of the Hoth system. Says, the field is strong enough to deflect any bombardment. We've already been told that the rebels have to drop the shield to allow their own ships to pass through it. The energy shield can only be open for a short time, so you all have to stay very close to your transport. The reason that the Empire can't use any ships is because no ships can pass through the rebels' energy shield. The goal of the ground forces of the Empire in this scene is to destroy the shield generator. Get the shields down so that the Empire can invade the base and take it over. Luke survives this crash. Luke survives. Why wouldn't he survive that crash? It doesn't even look like he was going very fast. This bucket of bolts is never going to get us past that blockade. That's kind of true, but why was Luke Sack's wing somehow able to get through the blockade no problem? Luke Sack's wing isn't damaged. The Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive is broken, which is why they have so much trouble getting away from the blockade. Here's another thing. How are there not any Imperial ships guarding the exit off the planet? We even heard them talk about a blockade earlier, so where is it? And the rebels didn't find some other side of the planet where the blockade wouldn't affect them, so what gives? There are Imperial ships guarding the exit off the planet. You even featured them in a previous sin in your video. Sir, rebel ships are coming into our sector. The big rebel cannon is disabling the ships to allow the rebel freighters and fighters to get through the blockade. 2 fighters against a star destroyer. The ion cannon will fire several shots to make sure that any enemy ships will be out of your flight path. If you watched the movie with your eyes and registered the information with your brain, you'd know this. 2 of these 3 star destroyers pursuing the Falcon run into each other. How is that possible? How do you not see another star destroyer in your path? Do you not have radar training skill? So in the previous clip, CinemaSins gave the movie a sin for not featuring any of the Imperial ships supposedly guarding the exit off the planet. And in this one, which is the next sin in their video, remember, they give it a sin for having so many Imperial ships that they all running into each other. Who's flying the ship right now? Leah, autopilot evasion software. There is this shot when Han returns to the cockpit showing Leah sitting in the pilot's seat with her hands on the controls, but who knows? Like an asteroid. How does an asteroid hit you when you not dead yet? Maybe if it hits you when you in a science fiction spaceship with a deflector shield. No, I need you to talk to the Falcon, find out what's wrong with the hyperdrive. But he just said what was wrong with the hyperdrive a few minutes ago, didn't he? I noticed earlier the hyperdrive motivator has been damaged. And you didn't fix it because you hit the asteroid field before you could do anything. So that's still the problem, right? No, all he said was that the motivator was damaged. There could be 100 different ways in which it's damaged, and Han needs the repo to find out which one of those ways it is. And actually, later on, Kines repo gives more information about the way in which the hyperdrive is damaged. I believe, sir, it says that the power coupling on the negative axis has been polarized. I'm afraid we will have to replace it. You seek Yoda. You know him. Take it to him. I will. Just like Obi-Wan. Yoda initially pretends not to be the person he actually is, mostly just tough with the audience. I mean Luke. He's not fing with Luke. He's testing his patience to see if he's suitable to be trained. Oh, I don't even know what I'm doing here. We're wasting our time. I cannot teach him. The boy has no patience. I have no doubt this boy is the offspring of Anakin Skywalker, which is a weird thing to say to Anakin Skywalker. He's not talking to Anakin Skywalker. He's talking to Darth Vader. And yes, there is a difference between those 2 things, and if you don't understand that, you just don't understand Star Wars. So this is a weird one. CinemaSins is complaining that the Emperor and Vader don't know that Luke Skywalker is Anakin Skywalker's son. Even though this is the scene where they reveal that they do know that Luke Skywalker is Anakin Skywalker's son. I mean, we know that they know his name because in an earlier scene Vader calls him Skywalker. And I'm sure Skywalker is with them. Set your course for the Hoth system. So why is CinemaSins saying that the Emperor and Vader weren't tipped off to that fact? Because they clearly were. Otherwise they wouldn't currently be talking about it. Yoda is reluctant to train Luke because he thinks he's too impatient and will fall to the dark side like his father did. I mean, this is very basic information revealed through the dialogue directly. So we can understand how CinemaSins managed to miss it. Okay, so after this big talk about how rocks and spaceships are different from each other and size doesn't matter and all that jazz, Yoda then proceeds to power the ship out of the water. But with considerable effort, I might add, if the Force supposedly does to distinguish the size of objects, This thing should have emerged immediately. Yoda isn't just trying to get the ship out of the water in this scene. He's using the opportunity afforded by the ship sinking to teach Luke about what's possible through use of the Force and believing in yourself and your own abilities. Luke does to believe that this is possible, and then Yoda shows him in a very impressive display of power that it is possible. He's not just literally trying to get the ship out of the swamp. That's not the point of the scene. Also, I don't know where CinemaSins got the idea that this takes considerable effort for Yoda, because at no point in the scene does it look like he's struggling or having any trouble with what he's doing. He's just doing it in a very slow and deliberate manner. If you leave now, help them you could, but you will destroy all for which they have fought and suffered. Because your dad is Darth Vader and he can turn you to the dark side and the rebels would lose the war. But that's a spoiler for the audience that you, the most important character in this movie, is just better off not knowing. They re not withholding this information from Luke for a big surprise or something. They think he's better off not knowing it. They want him to kill Vader, and they think that if they tell Luke Vader is his father, he'll be less likely to want to kill him, which is exactly what happens. So they kind of had a point in not telling Luke that information. I had no choice. They arrived right before you did. How did they do that? Even if Boba Fett tells Vader that they're going to Cloud City immediately after he starts following the Falcon has a huge head start, and this is after the Star Destroyers went into light speed in a different direction. Okay, so the fact that the Falcon's hyperdrive is broken is one of the major plot threads in the film, and it's impossible to miss. And I know that CinemaSins did miss it because they refer to it in previous sins. So how did they forget it here? They re-like, how could the Empire possibly get to Cloud City before the ship with a damaged engine? I mean, the only reason that the Falcon went to Cloud City anyway was to get the hyperdrive fixed. Put it together, guys. For fuck's sake. This contraption does things so horrible it's better left off screen, because whatever bullshit that thing is doing is probably bullshit, but it sure does hurt. No, leaving the torture off screen and its exact nature unspecific makes it even more horrible in the minds of the audience than if they just showed it directly. But leaving that aside for a second, why does CinemaSins beep out their own swear words? I mean, they don't record these live. They back to the They could write the script to say whatever they want, but they put in swear words only to later beep them out again. What's going on there? Walt Disney. Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen. That's just an urban legend. He was cremated. There you go. You learn something new every day. Just try it out. We don't need any of your help. Really. Like the kind that just freed you from captivity so you could escape. You don't need that kind of help. The last time that Lando said he was going to help them, he led them into a trap. So they were reluctant to take his help this time because they don't to know if his offer to help them is genuine or if he's lying again. Rest of the good guys running directly by random spotter twad to just happen to wind up glitch. Rest of the good guys running directly by random spotter twad to just happen to wind up glitch. What the fuck is that? I don't think they know what click means either. How many times does that happen? This is the second film that came out in the Star Wars franchise. Remember. So how many opportunities has that thing had to happen even? What the fuck? He doesn't to do more of it because he doesn't have to. Vader's not trying to kill Luke in this scene. He could completely cut his head off whenever he wanted to if he was trying to kill Luke. He's trying to wear him down and make him join his side. Luke can't beat Vader, and he doesn't want to join him. So letting go and just falling off the thing is actually the noble choice here. Oh yeah, they never showed us any of these ships running the Imperial blockade before, did they? Say, for instance, this ship. See this ship right here. Who remembers a scene earlier in the film showing that running the blockade? Not me, I don't remember that. When did that happen? Thanks for watching.